Hello everyone, welcome back. It's time for predictions for the North American Open 3. We're going to decide which teams end up going to land today. We've got two very lopsided groups yet again. We've got Group A, where complexity is the odds-on favorite, and then Group B, where there is a lot of crashing and burning. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Complexity versus Lotus 8. I'm very familiar with this Lotus 8 team. They have put up a number on us before. They're not a bad team. They snuck in. They ended up reverse sweeping the Swiss stage this time, which is the opposite of what they did last time. In Event 2, they went 2-0 to start. Then they went 2-3 in the Swiss. This time they started 0-2 and went 3-2. I don't really have much faith in them doing anything to complexity. My keyboard isn't plugged in, and so I have to do that like really quickly. I think the Windows just made the sound. I'm keeping it in. 3-1, 3-0. I'll give it 3-0. This is revenge for crashing out against us. No, I'm kidding. But Lotus 8, solid. The fact that they're in the regional, but I don't expect them to do much, to be honest. Gen G versus Pioneers. This is JNAP's last event. Sorry if I broke that news to anybody. I know that's probably difficult to hear if you didn't know, but yes, JNAP's announced on Twitter that this will be his final event. They're facing off against Gen G in the first round. I think Gen G's pretty hungry for this still. I'll give it 3-1, but Gen G, they've got a favorable group to get themselves out of, and I think this is where they start that. Deleted versus Omelette. I was impressed by Omelette last year. I thought they'd be good heading into this year, and they have let me down. I know we've seen Deleted versus Omelette before in that Open 1, and Deleted ended up taking it. I predicted Omelette to start. Omelette got swept 3-0 by Space Station in the Swiss. I got a lot of confidence Deleted after going 3-0. They finally did end up beating Gen G, which I think is one of their better wins as a team. So I'll have Deleted definitely taking care of Omelette. And then Pirates versus Netherlands Canada. In my opinion, Pirates was kind of the team that got screwed over last event, because if things had gone as expected, Rebellion would have beaten Netherlands Canada in the first round. And if that had happened, I think we end up seeing this Pirates versus Net matchup in the lower bracket. And as we would expect, Pirates are probably the better team in my estimation. They're also coming off of a win against NRG. So, all right, sorry, took a TV timeout. Where was I? I was saying the Pirates got a little bit screwed last event because I think they would have run into Netherlands Canada. And I think Pirates are the better team. They would have beaten them. I'll predict a 3-1 here. So that starts Group A. All right, let's get back into the swing of things. Death, 3-1, strictly business. So strictly business in Event 1. I gave them my honorable mention because they got really bracket grouped. They ended up beating NRG in that Swiss, and then they got seeded into that ridiculous quadrant of like Gen G, strictly business, Space Station, NRG. Obviously, we saw Space Station and NRG make the finals of that event. Strictly business ended up going out last. I thought that was really tragic of them, and they could have been like genuinely one of the 6 best teams in North America. Then they failed to make the second event, which I guess, a team that I do have as 6th best in North America also missed the main event. But now this time they're going through. They went 3-2 through the Swiss. They're seeded into another very, very difficult bracket. 2 teams that very well could make the finals again, and another one that is currently holding a land spot. So sucks for them, but they're probably going out last again. Energy 9 lives. I'll predict a 3-0. Not that 9 lives isn't good. This NRG team is solid. They lost their first round of Swiss to Pirates. I know. But they did that last time, and I do believe they'll still stay on top. Rebellion versus Gas. Gas ended up being Arsenal to get into the main event, and so I'm a little bit upset with them. I also did just see that Justin tweeted out he's like 16th in the world in twos, and that's a little scary to me. Tech versus Space Station. Tech didn't end up signing up or whatever it was for the second event. There's been a lot of controversy around that, but they didn't even sign up. They would have made top 16 in my opinion had they gone through. They ended up upsetting 9 lives in the Swiss. But against Space Station, I know Space Station, you could say they struggled in the Swiss, but in all honesty, I don't actually believe they did. They drew Complexity and NRG, which are 2 very difficult draws, and then they reach another stage where there's a lot of pressure on them. Obviously, the pressure is going to be on this event, and it's going to be a matter of dealing with it. They were able to deal with it against WebTub Pub. They ended up sending them out of the tournament where others couldn't. Speaking of Team Evo, we're at the point where we've recognized that they're not here anymore. They got eliminated in the Swiss. They were in Swiss A, because Swiss A was the Swiss of death. But they lost to Pioneers in this crucial matchup, and then they lost to Wonder Mike down here. So that eliminates them for the major. Now that I've had my ADHD moment, let's go ahead. I'll predict 3-1 for Space Station, mainly because I don't want to know what happens if we lose this series to Tech. I think it gets really bad because we'll likely run into the loser of this. But I do think Space Station is probably just a better team. Despite going 3-2 through the Swiss, this is really unlucky for a 3 seed out of Swiss to draw the Space Station team. But unfortunately, that is how the cookie has crumbled. Let's jump back over to Group A. Complexity Genji, this should be pretty easy for Complexity here. I mean, straightforward to me. And then Deleted Pirates. This is a series that Pirates could genuinely pull off an upset. If they did, it would make the major race a lot less interesting. This is, I mean, the third event in a row where Deleted has gotten a favorable path to the major. And I think, despite the fact that Pirates did beat NRG, Deleted beating Genji gives me hope that they'll continue to maintain the form that they're in. They very much feel like a we'll beat the teams below us, but not the teams above us kind of team. And so I'll predict them 3-2 over the Pirates on a boat. Lotus 8, Pioneers, there's no way I am letting JNaps going his last event without beating Lotus 8 here. And then Omelette versus Netherlands, America, Canada. As low as I am on Omelette as of now, I gotta stop predicting 3-1s. I'll give it 3-2 actually. I will have Omelette beating them. I think that's very solid, and it sets up for this rematch, which I expect we will see. NRG Ultimates. I said this about the European events because we actually had the World there too, where we had like K-Corp and Vitality here, which were the two best teams in Europe. And from there, they would face up in this round and loser would go to the actual lower bracket. I said that was the opportunity for K-Corp to get upset by Vitality if there was ever going to be an upset over K-Corp. I thought it was going to be there. Obviously, that ended up being wrong. But I'm actually going to predict it this time. I'm going to say that this is the series where Ultimates take down NRG and they end up moving through the upper bracket and making things rather interesting for teams coming from the lower. Rebellion versus Space Station. There's a couple ways this could go. I'm going to drop down here first. Strictly Business 9 Lives. 9 Lives should be able to take care of this and jump to here. This would give them 2 points, and we're going to have to really start talking about points here. How much time do I have? It's been 7 minutes. I got to stop waffling as much. And then Tech versus Gas. Tech should be winning this. I'll give it a 3-0. But this Tech team, I'm surprised they went 0-2 in their first event. Obviously didn't play in the second event, but they should be through here pretty easily. The reason we hold off on this is because the loser ends up dropping down to this 9 Live squad, and I think that's one of the most important matches when it comes to LAN. If we look at the points standings before this event, I'll just jump over to here because this is before anything is filled out. We have currently a 2-point gap in between 9 Lives and Space Station. We have a 5-point gap between 9 Lives and Rebellion, and a 4-point gap between 9 Lives and Deleted. So if Rebellion wants any chance of making the major, they got to go through top 6 here. But most importantly, they really just got to hope 9 Lives gets eliminated right here. Because if 9 Lives go out here, this means a top 4 for Rebellion would actually tie them. I'm going to give them the opportunity to do that themselves. I know that might be a biased take. I'm going to believe in the guys. I hope I'm right, obviously, but I'll predict Space Station to go through, beat Rebellion, beat Tech. They've done more difficult things in the main event before. Obviously, if they drop down here, it's not unwinnable either. I do actually, if Space Station drops down here and they play like we know they can, that might be one of the best things, because when it comes to Rebellion versus 9 Lives, I could see that series going either way. It wouldn't surprise me to see 9 Lives win that. But either way, let's go ahead and predict this. I'll predict 9 Lives here. I do think they're just a better team than Rebellion. But Justin's on ours. I did just see the Justin tweet. I think if I hadn't seen that Justin tweet, I would definitely hold firm in this 9 Lives prediction, but I might change this up later to see what the points look like. NRG Tech should be clean. And then, yeah, seeding matches, we're going to breeze through those, rematch there, and Ultimates will take care of business here. Complexity Deleted in the seeded match will be a 3-0. That'd be a wild time for an upset. And then Pirates Pioneers. I like this Pirates squad. I really like this Pirates squad. I'll give it 3-2. I'll give it 3-2. I think the Pirates kind of got robbed from a top 8 appearance. Yes, they had a Mickey group last event, but I think they should have gotten through the Mickey group and got screwed by Rebellion taking a loss they never should have taken, and then suddenly figuring out they were Shopify Rebellion again. So I'll give Pirates the nod, but it has to go 5 because JNaps is going out on a banger. You know what? No, I'll say it. I'm sorry, Pirates. I like you guys. In all reality, you're probably making top 8 if you get this draw, but I'm going to predict JNaps to make mainstream for his retirement tour. I can't not do it. Gen G versus Omelet should be clean for Gen G. And then Gen G versus Pioneers will say Gen G take care of that seeding matchup. So this is the bracket that we get. Sets up for our ever so common Gen G versus 9 Lives matchup. Complexity Space Station, which we saw in the Swiss, and then Ultimates deleted. Wild that, oh my gosh, he's got to go against NRG, man. He's got to go against NRG. NRG is going to genuine, like, I don't encourage throwing, don't get me wrong, but you got to give him one game here. Like, there's no way you're just going to annihilate JNaps and send him out that way. 4-2. Teams play well when they have nothing else to lose. Gen G 9 Lives. Listen, I've seen this match over and over and over again. And I've hoped for the other result over and over and over again. This is Gen G's major chances on the line. You could say they have nothing to lose. You could say they're the Geekay of North America, but like, I'm going to trust the fact that it's a playstyle difference, and I'm going to predict 9 Lives again. Complexity Space Station. We saw it in the Swiss. We'll see it again. I think Complexity drops Space Station to the lower bracket, and then Ultimates should take care of Deleted. You know what? This will be strangely close. I don't know what's telling me this, but this will be strangely close, and Deleted will lose. From here, you have Space Station versus 9 Lives, and I would be remiss if I don't predict Space Station here. I've seen a couple people predict 9 Lives over Space Station here. Based on what we saw in Regional 1, it didn't look close. Now, granted, that was a Space Station that had just beat up on Ultimates and NRG, and so, like, going as 9 Lives, you should always be winning that series if you're going to take down Ultimates and NRG beforehand. This isn't a Space Station that's been able to take down those teams, but I do think they're probably better than 9 Lives. Plus, in all reality, I'm predicting for the tiebreaker, guys. Like, why would I not predict for the tiebreaker? Because if Space Station lose to Ultimates here, we genuinely have one. Like, my stress levels need to go up. Deleted versus NRG, I'm sorry, guys. You had your chance against Ultimates, and you'll probably end up regretting that. If Deleted were to go through here, they'd actually still need to make the finals because of how far behind they are against 9 Lives. But if Gen G were to make the miracle run, however, this Deleted series could be for making that tiebreaker as well. I'll draw that up in a second. But Complexity NRG is going to be 4-2. We've noticed a trend where in the first event, NRG won the series 4-0. And then in the second event, they won it 4-2 or 4-1. So now it's going to be 4-2. The next event will be 4-3. And then after that, finally Complexity will get the win. We're predicting the 4-2 to continue the trend. Ultimate Space Station. We could rematch theory this one because we saw it in the seeding match. I normally tend to keep that for when the levels are about even, and truthfully, there's going to be a decent amount of pressure on... I'll be memed to death if I predict Space Station to the finals, though. I'm sorry. I'll be memed out the wazoo if that happens. So I will predict Ultimates in that one. This is a win and in scenario if you are Space Station. And then, of course, rematch theory. Gotta have it. I'll make it go 7. I'll make it entertaining. But NRG will 3-peat. I know we didn't see Carmine Core 3-peat, and that was the team I was expecting to see 3-peat more. But here we are. Points. This would give us the tiebreaker, as I have drawn up. I'm not going to predict the tiebreaker if we were to see it. It really depends on what versions of the teams we see. If we were to, manipulate it so that Deleted... I mean, this gets really wonky, right? But let's say Gen G takes this 4-3, 4-3, then suddenly Gen G is up here, then 4-3, and then 4-3. If this were to happen, we'd have a 3-way tiebreaker between Deleted, Space Station, and 9 Lives. I don't think there's a way Rebellion sneaks into the finals with this combination, but that's kind of what we're looking at. Actually, if Gen G sneak into the finals somehow. This would obviously never happen, but this is a 4-way tiebreaker, which could be legit so hype. Of course, this involves NRG losing to deleted, so we're really in fantasy land here. And I can't have it so that deleted beats ultimates instead of NRG, because then ultimates would be in the path. Or actually, I could. So that would actually make some sense. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It would be the worst thing in the world. Either way, I'm going to go back to what I originally predicted. 4-2 here. This is going to be 4-3. 4-1. 4-2. 4-1. And 4-3. That's what I'll be able to settle on. These are how the points shake out. This would be a tiebreaker. Be pretty hype in all of reality. But yeah, that's your North America predictions. Hope you all enjoyed. Hopefully we have a fun weekend where a lot goes well for a specific team that I may cheer for. And yeah, it's going to be a fun time. We'll see who goes to Birmingham. And I'll catch you guys next time.